By rescue.
Have you heard? This is not your practice herd.
Reverend Clarence Brown led this rally near the Totley home 2 days after the incident. He takes issue with the term practical joke.
The law was broken. It is a federal law against cross burning. It is Kentucky law against cross burning. So it was more than just a practical joke. It was more than just a harmless prank.
Key is fighting the possibility of 10 years in prison. He has pleaded not guilty and wants to stand trial. Keller, on the other hand, says he is guilty and he wants to be sentenced. Whether or not it was a practical joke, historically, crosses have been burned as a message for blacks to get out. And the Totleys have since moved away. Gary Collins, Channel 32 News.
William Keller will be sentenced in federal court May 16th. Key has changed attorneys and has asked for time to investigate the matter.
Kentucky lawmakers are considering a bill that calls for keeping track of crimes rooted in bigotry. A House committee approved the measure today. It would require authorities to note whether a crime stemmed from a victim's race, religion, sex, or national origin. Sponsors say the number of such crimes has risen in recent years. They say the information would help officials determine the severity of the problem and seek solutions. The bill now goes to the full House for consideration. Indian leaders and government officials held a powwow in Clarksville today. At issue was the fate of a piece of land the Indians think may contain burial mounds of their ancestors. The city had planned to build a park there, but the Indians set up teepees last week and camped out to block construction. At today's powwow, the two sides agreed to a moratorium on the project, and they've also agreed to build a memorial to the Indians who may be buried at the site.
A Senate committee is reworking parts of Kentucky's House Education Reform Bill. Today, the Senate Education Committee took out a 10% pay raise for school employees that the House had suggested. And the committee put back a prohibition on political activity by teachers and other school employees. Other major parts of the House bill were not changed.
And on the House side, lawmakers passed the budget bill. It calls for spending $8.8 billion in state taxes over the next 2 years. There was virtually no debate and only 3 dissenting votes. Differences between House and Senate budgets will be worked out later this week in a conference committee. Well, Louisville has survived the first cut in its effort to attract a $500 million United Airlines jet maintenance center.
United has notified the city is still in the running for the economic prize, but the runway is still very long. John Bold joins us live from Stanford Field with more. John?
Listen, Bruce, we know 84 sites were considered originally. Unlike the NCAA basketball tournament, though, we're still a long way from a Final Four. Still, we know we have not been beaten yet.
The possibilities are encouraging. United Airlines' proposed jet maintenance center could locate on open land next door to United Parcel Services hub and service UPS jets. United Airlines' $500 million jet center would employ anywhere from 5,000 to 7,000 people, paying up to $20 an hour, a project heavily pitched by more than 80 mayors.
We put a full package together. We talked about everything from the land that's available around the airport to the labor force that we have in this community, the educational opportunities to train and maintenance engineers and jet engine engineers.
Kentucky offered financial incentives to United to help train workers and locate the facility here. United likes the carrot dangled by Louisville and has mailed the city a list of questions concerning the site, environmental issues, utilities, airport fees, housing, and taxes. In short, what else can you do for us? The county judge answers a lot.
The airport expansion seems to be on track. We have the Shawnee Aviation School here and University of Louisville and all of the education for aviation that's taking place in the community, the workforce that's here, the central location of the community. All of those are very positive aspects of this proposal.
Now, a United spokesperson in Chicago will not say how many cities are still in the running. It's thought to be a couple of dozen, but a short list is expected to be developed within about a month. Liz and Bruce?
John, several other Kentucky communities were candidates. What's happened to them?
2 others were, and strangely, the Owensboro Regional Airport will not tell us, will not comment on whether it's been selected in this cut. And the Greater Cincinnati Airport in northern Kentucky has confirmed it is still in the running. Back to you.
Thank you, John.
There's been a changing of the guard at GE Appliances in Louisville. Gary Rogers has been named Senior Vice President in charge of the operation. He's currently head of the company's electrical distribution and control business. Rogers succeeds Roger Shipke, who's been named president of GE's Ryland Group Incorporated, a home building company headquartered in Columbia, Maryland. GE Appliances had revenues of $5.5 billion last year. Well, it's back to schools for some 400 Ford Motor Company representatives.
The dealers and salesmen are in Louisville boning up on the 1991 Escort and the Louisville Belt Explorer.
Vicki Dorch has the story.
It was a caravan of Ford Escorts making their way around the state fairgrounds. Behind the wheel, dealers and salesmen from 4 states hoping to make the Escort the #1 selling car across the country. They liked what they drove.
The acceleration is unbelievable. It's got so much more pickup. It's responsive in the steering. When you go around the curves, the car holds the ground, running 60 miles an hour.
You excited about selling this car?
Yes. I can't wait till we get one.
In Jefferson County, the Ford Escort is the #1 selling car, but that's not the case across the country. For 8 years, the Ford Escort reigned as the #1 car in the U.S., but in 1989, it lost that position to Honda's Accord. Marnie Quinn, district sales manager, says with the new model Escort, Ford finally has a car that will compete with imports.
We always felt that our main competition for our best-selling car was domestic, Chevrolet Chrysler. Well, now we think we finally got a car that we can take on the Japanese and win.
Of course, the sales of the new Explorer are very important to Jefferson County. The Explorer, which replaces the Bronco 2 in the showroom, is built here in Louisville, and its success will have a direct impact on the local economy. This is the most expensive of the Escort models, the GT. In fact, 30% of all Escort sales will be this model. The car sells for about $11,000, and Ford reps say that's only 2.5% increase over last year's price. Now that school's out, the Escort will be on sale April 26th. Vicki Dorch, Channel 32 News.
And Vicki says the Louisville-built Explorer went on sale March 15th. Ford expects to sell more than 200,000 91 model Explorers.
A Kentucky State Police body-sniffing dog has now been brought into the search for Ann Gottlieb. The FBI says the same restricted area of Fort Knox that was searched last week is getting a second look by the dog and its handler. The FBI and police began looking for the remains of the girl who disappeared in 1983 after a Texas death row inmate told them he killed a freckle-faced girl in Kentucky. This country's highest court is taking up a case dealing with the health and safety of expectant workers. Johnson Controls has battery plants in several states and in Louisville. It bars women of childbearing age from hazardous jobs. Women say that's job discrimination, keeping them from earning higher pay. The so-called fetal protection policy was upheld last year by a federal appeals court. The U.S. Supreme Court is expected to rule on the case next year.
And still to come, you want to take your newborn home to meet the family.
Some high-tech help next in tonight's Health Feed.
Everybody knows that milk's for babies. Charming, disarming, whatever they do. Wouldn't you know it, baby? Milk's for you. Soft baby skin, strong baby bones, a bright baby smile, and blue-gray mistletoe. Wouldn't you know it, baby? Milk's for you. It's a health kick, baby.
The low price revolution is on at Winn-Dixie. You'll see the change down every aisle, in every department. Now your money goes further because we've lowered prices. Lower than ever before. Now we give you low prices nobody can beat. Nobody.
My territory is like a geography lesson. L.A., New York, Miami, London, Paris, Berlin. I live on TWA. I know all the flight numbers. I know the crew by their first names. We're old friends.
The TWA network covers 150 cities worldwide, including 125 cities in the U.S. alone.
Well, what do you expect? World is their middle name.
Today's TWA. Find out how good we really are.
M Days are here. The month is March. The cars are Mercury's. The values are here. M Days. Save with $1,000 cash back on Mercury Cougar, $750 on Sable, Topaz, and Grand Marquis, plus $1,500 cash back on Lincoln Mark 7 and Continental, all before you make your best deal. M Days. A multi-million-dollar inventory. The cars, the cash, the deals, only at your Lincoln Mercury dealer. Ends April 2nd.
Louisville has been chosen as the city of readers. Reading is Fundamental Incorporated made the selection, and General Electric came up with a $100,000 grant to help set up programs throughout the city and county. Louisville's City of Readers program is co-chaired by the wives of the county judge and mayor. The goal is to increase the amount of reading done by people of all ages. All babies develop some form of jaundice, a condition where the child's liver is too immature to function properly.
And nurses say between 5 and 10% of babies with jaundice need phototherapy. Tonight on Health Beat, medical reporter Carolyn C. explains how one option literally wraps a baby in light.
Kevin is only a week old. The 11-pound, 15-ounce baby suffers from jaundice. So a home health care nurse has visited the newborn every day since he and his mother left the hospital. Unlike other babies who have jaundice and can spend up to 5 days in the hospital, Kevin has been at home because of a new treatment. Instead of being placed under bright phototherapy lights, Kevin is wrapped in a fiber optic blanket.
One of the things that makes it a little bit easier, too, is we call him the glowworm.
The blanket, called the Wallaby, has been available in Louisville for less than 6 months.
Many of the doctors request it because it allows the moms to bond better with their babies. They're able to be held. They don't have to have their eyes covered.
Kevin's mother, a nurse herself, says home health care has made the ordeal easier.
When it comes to your own, it's totally different. So, I mean, I'm just an ordinary mom when it comes down to that. So, I mean, I have my worries and my concerns, and I had my tears. And
Kevin spends 23 hours wearing the fiber optic blanket. His mother says it's much easier with 3 other brothers to have the baby at home. Carolyn C., Channel 32 News.
What a cute baby. The blanket is available through Spectric Care. The company is studying to see if the fiber optic blanket works as fast as standard light treatment. Well, after a weekend of snow, we couldn't complain about today, could we?
Not at all. We'll ask for a carbon copy, Wayne.
Well, I'll tell you what the chances are next on Channel 32 News.
This is the farewell tour of Gunther Gable Williams. Unrivaled entertainment in the grand tradition of Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus. The greatest show on earth.
Coming to Freedom Hall, 2 days only, March 27th and 28th. Tickets on sale at Freedom Hall box office and all Ticketron outlets.
You know, with my job as an ag chem dealer, there's plenty of hours to put in after work. It's important that people learn the facts about today's agriculture and our industry. We use modern equipment, chemicals, fertilizers, and technology to produce an abundant, safe food supply.
A very key factor, it needs to be environmentally sound as well.
You know, it makes you feel good when you can communicate with people and help them understand our industry.
Brought to you by your state-licensed ag chem dealers and Monsanto.
For Kentuckiana's weather forecast anytime, call the 32 WLKY Weather Center at 585-1212. For the most comprehensive look at the weather, stay tuned. Wayne Hart's AMS certified forecast is coming up.
Save money. Lots of it. Come to Chi-Chi's Cancun Dinner Special. For $7.25, you get 2 big seafood enchiladas stuffed with a blend of snow crab, bay shrimp, and whitefish. You even get Chi-Chi's own incredible Mexican fried ice cream. Chi-Chi's Cancun Dinner Special. A great way to save a few $100.
Chi-Chi's, a celebration of food.
21st century technology works day and night to link all Walgreen pharmacies, so your current Walgreens prescription records are always as close as your nearest Walgreens. With Intercom, we can tell you when savings are available. We may even help prevent an allergic reaction. Concerned pharmacists, superior healthcare technology, only at Walgreens.
Walgreens is hippity-hopping with Easter values. Everything you need to fill your Easter basket, from candy to toys, plus the basket itself, all at Walgreens.
Well, you missed the big snow on Saturday.
I sure did. I was out in Oklahoma for a severe storms workshop, but even though I missed the snow here, we had an ice storm out there in the plains on Saturday. So a lot of winter weather to go around this weekend, but fortunately the weather map is beginning to look a little bit more like spring this week. Today was nice, tomorrow's going to be nice. Wednesday is the transition day, and then wet weather for Thursday and Friday. But today we really couldn't complain. Lots of sunshine out there, just a little bit on the cool side. Our high temperature made it up above the 50-degree mark, 54 to be exact, which is 5 shy of the normal of 59. Our morning low, though, was pretty chilly at 28 degrees. No precipitation today. Air quality was good, and thus far for the year, over 12.5 inches of precipitation has fallen, and that's a little over 2 inches above normal. Now, as far as snow goes, we've picked up 14.7 inches so far this season, and normally we pick up close to 18 inches for a normal winter season. So perhaps there's more on the way. Who knows? Sunset this evening at 7 o'clock on the dot. Sunrise tomorrow morning at 6:36. Before a change, the weather map is pretty quiet this evening. We have high pressure building down from the Great Lakes, and ahead of it, there's a weak cold front that's going to be pushing through overnight, but all we're going to see from this front is a slight shift in the wind, and that's just about it. Really, the big weather story this week is going to come out of the south. There's a lot of moisture moving out of the eastern Pacific across the Baja Peninsula and into the desert southwest, and later on in the week, we're going to be dealing with all of this moisture. But right now at the airport, we're enjoying clear skies, temperature of 51 degrees, the relative humidity 35%. Winds are coming in out of the northwest at 10 miles per hour, pressure holding steady at 30.34. Wesley Nelson up in Seymour tells me it's 49 degrees right now. John Stice over in LaGrange checking in with a cool spot at 40 degrees. And Craig Foster down in Mount Washington, the warm spot at 50, but unfortunately another chilly night on the way. We're going to bottom out in the mid-20s, but tomorrow's going to be nice. That high is going to build into the northeast, and that's going to keep the cool air around, but it will also keep our skies clear. It looks like we begin to go downhill in the weather department on Wednesday as some of that moisture from the west begins to work in. Now, the forecast map for Wednesday morning shows the clouds already into town with a lot of moisture in the form of rain, even some snow across the upper Mississippi Valley on Wednesday morning. Wednesday does not look all that wet, maybe a few light showers, but then on Thursday and Friday, the bulk of this rainfall begins to work into the Ohio Valley, so get outside and enjoy tomorrow if at all possible. Here's the forecast for you. Tonight, clear and cold, a low down into the mid-20s. For tomorrow, sunny and still a little bit on the cool side, a high in the mid-50s. The clouds begin to roll in tomorrow night, and on Wednesday, mostly cloudy. A few showers in the area, a high of 60 to 65. Rain on Thursday, a high in the mid-60s. Thunderstorms on Friday, and a high again in the mid-60s. And yes, another chilly bus stop tomorrow morning. Under clear skies, temperatures will be in the middle 20s, but there is no snow in the forecast, just rain later in the week.
Okay. Thanks, Wayne.
What a relief. Good-Natured Slapstick got a local company's annual Fun for the Arts campaign off to a rousing start today. Capital Holding and Commonwealth Insurance sponsored a pie-throwing contest for employees. 24 officers and managers of the firm volunteered to be targets, and about 400 workers paid $1 each to throw a cream pie at them. The event raised about $500. The firm's goal is $90,000 this year. And coming up in sports, is it really time for football already?
And Fairdale pays tribute to the new boys basketball champs. Next on Channel 32 Sports.
All the stars will be out tonight. First, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Chevy Chase, and at last, Warren Beatty.
I believe in marriage. I wouldn't mind being married at all.
Hollywood's biggest box office stars on the Barbara Walters special. Then, from around the world, it's the Silver Screen's Golden Event.
I deserve this, thank you.
Billy Crystal hosts the 62nd Annual Academy Awards, live after the Barbara Walters special.
Tonight on 32 WLKY.
You can always tell a cowgirl by her clothes. You can always find the kitchen with your nose. You can always count on certain things, and Wal-Mart's one of those.
One reason why you can always count on Wal-Mart and the products we sell is that the products we sell are the brands you can always trust. You wouldn't have it any other way, and neither would we.
Always.
If you thought a vacation in Kentucky was all scenic mountain vistas, horses in the bluegrass, and sparkling sky blue waters, wait till you see all the fun you can have.
Vacation in Kentucky for a week or a weekend. You'll see what makes our uncommon wealth so unforgettable.
1927. Mr. Bowman had turned his cow pasture into Louisville's first airport, and 100,000 people had gathered there. Do you see a shy young man land and tell about his solo flight across the Atlantic? Lucky Lindy, they called him, Charles Lindbergh. He had a vision that saw no limits. A vision shared then and now by a bank that sees possibilities just as big as the sky. There are banks, and there is liberty.
Subway's got the BMT and it's my way.
Right now, get a 6-inch, big, meaty, tasty sub for just $1.99.
Fred is taking the day off. Rick is here. He's been out popping the pads with the Cardinals.
I want to hear your joke.
No.
Okay, maybe later. The sound of football was back in the air at the fairgrounds today. This is the 6th spring football session for Coach Schnellenberger at Louisville, and he's already labeled this one the most demanding. But the players are excited about the so-called challenge.
I won't say coach is a lot of talk, but, I mean, he can't be any tougher than he's been in the past, so
I'm just going to go out there with that.
It's not going to be that hard.
We want to get back and try to make ourselves a better team this spring because for myself and a lot of us, we only have one more fall season left to go at it, so this is a time for us to get at it, have some fun, and get better for next season.
So we're going to ask more of them. Some people might say demand more of them, and give them the opportunity to take this development of football a shade another step higher.
Spring practice will wrap up April 21st. There was another familiar sound cried out today, one that it looked like it would never get here, the cry of play ball. Well, take a look and rejoice, baseball fans. The exhibition season is finally underway. 14 games scheduled today. This is action from the Mets-Astros games. The Reds play Toronto later tonight. Pirates beat the Cards 5-2, but who cares? They're playing baseball. I talked with Jerome Harmon by phone today. He said he is close to deciding whether or not he'll turn professional. The U of L sophomore said he would talk on camera with me tomorrow. If you're like me, you're dead in the water as far as the Final Four pools go in the office. Let's take a look at them. From the East, Duke will take on Arkansas this Saturday in one semifinal. And out west, it will be UNLV taking on Georgia Tech, which claim the Southeast. Now, there are 2 ACC teams and 2 teams that defeated Louisville during the regular season. Now, Coach Schnellenberger told me he's doing well in his pool at the office. I said, Coach, you didn't pick Louisville? He replied, you think Coach Crum picked us to win the national championship? I guess he had a good point. The fate of NC State basketball coach Jim Valvano has still not been decided. His lawyer met with school officials today and afterward said there is still hope that Jim Valvano will remain as the Wolfpack's head basketball coach. The Fairdale Bulldogs received a hero's welcome today at the school. Fairdale claimed the boys' state championship on Saturday, and the celebration is yet to stop. Several new road signs were displayed at today's pep rally, and if you didn't know it, this has been proclaimed Fairdale Bulldogs Week. And if you're wondering where Fred Calgo is, he was choreographing the dance steps out there today. So Fred did a nice job with that. Congratulations to them. They had a great game, defeated Covington Holmes. It's unusual when you start the season #1 and you end #1, so congratulations to them.
Terrific. And how did the Cards look today in practice?
Well, they were hitting. I asked a lot of them, I said, you going to anticipate some soreness tonight? And they said, well, a little bit, but at least we don't have to run. We get something out of it. Football players like to hit, and they got to do it today.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm afraid that one guy who said, oh, it's not going to be too rough, maybe running some extra laps tomorrow.
Maybe Coach wasn't listening tonight.
Well, still to come, it's not exactly Peter Cottontail.
But it is amazingly irresistible and incredibly edible.
It's 6 o'clock Wednesday. Dinner at Bob Evans. That's the Kerns coming from Betsy's lesson. Over there's Ed and May Woods. Every Wednesday for 10 years, Ed swears he's not going to get catfish, but he always does. Of course, there's lots of choices. 7 dinners under $5 and children's under $2. Why don't you stop by? Welcome to Bob Evans. This week, our home-style country fried steak is only $4.25.
Coming up on World News tonight, making sure that college athletes get an education. We'll report on how some colleges are preparing their athletes for life off the playing field. And diet clinics. Many are said to be run by untrained people using untested products. Does that make them dangerous?
For the latest in sports, call the Channel 32 Sports Center at 58-SPORT.
See the difference a leader makes with Kroger bonus buys. They're the smartest buys in town. Fresh whole fryers, 39 cents a pound. California strawberries, $1.98 a quart. Chase and Sanborn coffee, 99 cents. Assorted Coke products, 89 cents. The smartest buys in town. Kroger bonus buys. See the difference a leader makes. Go Krogering.
He played minor league ball for the Yankees, then he tried government work, but for the past 5 decades, he's been a candy man, and what a candy man he is.
Tonight, Janet Wallace introduces us to the Mac behind Mac's Candy plant in New Albany.
Raymond McCauley is a 5th-generation candy maker. You might say chocolate is in his blood. He and his wife Margie have been concocting confections at Mac's Candy Plant for 44 years.
Once you work around candy, there's something fascinating about it that you like to be with it.
Back in the 1950s, Mac had 30 helpers, and the New Albany plant produced about 1.5 tons of chocolate a day. Today, this couple, both in their 80s, run the factory, the shop, and the wholesale business with the help of 3 others. Mac says a good candy maker is hard to find. His ads have gone unanswered.
In the Annapolis Star, I even advertised in the Louisville paper, too. No more candy makers. I don't get a call.
If you aren't local, you probably haven't heard of Mac's. It's in a residential neighborhood behind the home the McCauleys once lived in. But don't bother trying to call first. The number isn't listed. Mac says he's too busy to answer, and he's right.
My boss told me to pick some candy up for him. He does every year, so I decided to go ahead and pick it up for him and have it ready for him when he calls me to tell me to get some for him.
I have 2 unmarried brothers, and they expect Easter candy and Christmas candy, so I've just bought a little for them, along with my 2 boys.
Mac says his business has survived, while many family-owned operations have been bought out. What does it take to be a good candy maker?
Practically all your life.
But if you want to sample some of these sweets, you'd better get here in a hurry. Mac closes down shop after Easter and doesn't reopen until October, when it's time to break out the Christmas molds. Janet Wallace, Channel 32 News.
Mac may be having trouble finding a candy maker if he wants a candy eater. I'm right here, Mac. Call me at the station.
Well, Mac's biggest bunny, his Easter bunny, 3 feet tall.
Ooh, I'd like to sink my teeth into that. By the way, he originally bought the mold to create an Easter decoration, but so many orders came in for a 36-inch chocolate rabbit, and now he sells them.
That's good.
And coming up tonight after the Oscars, we'll have all the day's news, weather, and sports for you.
Please join us then. Stay up with us. Good night.
The following is a response to a recent Channel 32 editorial regarding state taxation. Here is State Representative John Ackerson of Jefferson County.
The House of Representatives last week passed the most significant single piece of legislation it has considered this century, House Bill 940, misnamed the Educational Reform Package. There are 2 reasons why I cast a negative vote for this $1.2 billion tax package. First, only about 50% of the increase in taxes will actually go for educational reforms. The balance of the new taxes will be spent in other non-education areas of government. Second, since so much of the new tax increase does not go for educational improvements, the General Assembly has actually underfunded the educational reform package. Legislative leaders have predicted that within 2 or 3 years, we as state lawmakers will be compelled to raise yet additional new tax dollars or else reduce our commitment to educational improvements. If we as legislators are going to ask you, the public, to support tax increases in the name of education improvement, let's put all the money in education, not elsewhere.
Representative Ackerson's comments were in response to a Channel 32 editorial.
ABC, this is